but my story does. 3 years ago, I was broke. I was desperate and convinced I was one good idea away from changing my life forever. I had read every business book, watched every YouTube tutorial, and followed every guru who promised me the secret formula to overnight success. What they didn't tell me was that profitability isn't just about having a good product or service. It's about surviving 3 distinct psychological and financial stages that will test every fiber of your being. And today, I'm going to walk you through each one with the raw honesty that I wish someone had given me. The first stage is what I call the honeymoon of delusion, and it's the most dangerous because it feels so good. You've got your brilliant idea, maybe you've made your first few sales, and you're convinced you've cracked the code that everyone else missed. I remember my first month when I made $847 selling digital marketing services. I was ecstatic. I called my mom, posted on social media, and started calculating how much I'd make if I could just scale this up. 800 became 8,000 in my mind. 8,000 became 80,000, and suddenly I was planning my exit from my day job. But here's what nobody tells you about stage 1. That initial success isn't success at all. It's market research disguised as revenue. Those first customers who said yes to your product or service, they're not buying what you think they're buying. They're buying your enthusiasm, your desperation, or sometimes they're just being polite. The real test comes when you try to systematize what you did and repeat it with strangers who don't know you, don't trust you, and have no emotional investment in your success. I spent 6 months in stage 1. Riding high on small wins and completely blind to the storm that was coming. I reinvested every penny back into the business, bought expensive courses, hired virtual assistants I couldn't afford, and maxed out 2 credit cards because I was so certain that I just needed to scale faster. The math seemed simple. If I could make $800 working 10 hours a week, imagine what I could do working 60 hours a week with a team behind me. The problem with stage 1 thinking is that it's linear in a non-linear world. Business doesn't scale like a mathematical equation. It scales like a living organism, with growing pains, unexpected mutations, and survival challenges that can kill you overnight. When I tried to go from $800 to $8,000 in month 7, everything fell apart. My costs exploded, my quality dropped, customers started complaining, and I realized I had built a house of cards on a foundation of wishful thinking. That's when stage 2 begins. And this is where most people quit. I call it the Valley of Broken Dreams, and it's a psychological torture chamber designed to separate the entrepreneurs from the wannabes. Stage 2 starts the moment you realize that what got you here won't get you there, and everything you thought you knew about your business was wrong. For me, it started on a Tuesday morning when I woke up to 17 negative reviews, 3 refund requests, and a bank account that was overdrawn by $2,312. The worst part about stage 2 isn't the money problems you can solve. The worst part is the identity crisis that comes with realizing you might not be the business genius you thought you were. For 6 months, I had been telling everyone I was an entrepreneur. I had changed my LinkedIn title, started networking events, and even gave advice to friends who were thinking about starting their own businesses. Now I was sitting in my apartment, staring at the ceiling, wondering if I should just give up and go back to my old job with my tail between my legs. Stage 2 is where your business becomes a mirror that reflects every insecurity, every limiting belief, and every character flaw you've been avoiding your entire life. You'll discover that you're terrible at saying no to bad customers, that you undervalue your work, that you're afraid of confrontation, and that you have no idea how to manage money. I spent 3 months in therapy during stage 2 because I couldn't understand why I was sabotaging every opportunity that came my way. But here's the secret that changed everything for me. Stage 2 isn't a punishment, it's a curriculum. Every failure, every setback, every moment of doubt is teaching you something essential about business that you can't learn from books or courses. When I lost my biggest client in month 9 because I overpromised and underdelivered, I learned the importance of setting realistic expectations. When I hired the wrong person and lost $3,000 in month 10, I learned how to interview and vet team members. When I launched a product that nobody wanted in month 11, I learned the difference between what I wanted to sell and what the market actually needed. The transition from stage 2 to stage 3 doesn't happen overnight. It's a gradual shift that occurs when you stop fighting the problems and start learning from them. For me, the turning point came in month 14 when I stopped trying to be everything to everyone and focused on solving one specific problem for one specific type of customer. Instead of offering digital marketing services to anyone with a pulse, I specialized in helping local restaurants increase their takeout orders during the pandemic. This focus changed everything. Instead of competing on price with thousands of other generalists, I became the go-to expert for a specific niche. Instead of explaining what I did, my ideal customers immediately understood the value I provided. Instead of chasing clients, clients started coming to me. But most importantly, I finally understood my numbers. I knew exactly how much it cost to acquire a customer, how much each customer was worth over their lifetime, and how to optimize every part of my process for maximum profitability. Stage 3 is what I call the momentum of mastery, and this is where the real money gets made. Stage 3 isn't about working harder. It's about working smarter with a deep understanding of what actually drives results in your specific business. By month 16, I was making more money working 30 hours a week than I had made working 70 hours a week in Stage 2. The difference wasn't effort. The difference was clarity. In Stage 3, you stop being a victim of your business and start being the architect. You understand your metrics, you know your customer acquisition costs, you can predict your revenue with reasonable accuracy, and you've built systems that work whether you're there or not. Most importantly, you've developed what I call entrepreneur's intuition. You can smell a bad deal from a mile away, you know which opportunities to pursue and which to ignore, and you trust your gut because your gut has been calibrated by experience. But let me be brutally honest about something. Getting to Stage 3 nearly destroyed me. There were nights when I couldn't sleep because the stress was eating me alive. There were days when I wanted to burn everything down and start over. There were moments when I questioned my sanity, my intelligence, and my right to call myself an entrepreneur. The psychological toll of building a profitable business is something that nobody talks about, but it's the price of admission to financial freedom. I remember one particular night in month 12 when I was lying awake at 2 in the morning, calculating how much longer I could survive on ramen noodles and credit card cash advances. My business was bringing in just enough money to keep the lights on, but not enough to pay myself a real salary. I was trapped in no man's land, too far along to quit, but too far from profitability to feel safe. That's when I realized that entrepreneurship isn't about being fearless. It's about being afraid and moving forward anyway. The breakthrough moment that launched me into Stage 3 came from an unexpected source. A customer complaint. Mrs. Chen, who owned a small Chinese restaurant in downtown Portland, called me furious because the social media campaign I had created for her wasn't working. Instead of getting defensive, I drove to her restaurant and spent 3 hours watching how her business actually operated. What I discovered changed my entire approach to client work. Mrs. Chen didn't need more social media followers. She needed a system to handle the increased volume of orders that my campaigns were generating. Her kitchen was overwhelmed, her staff was stressed, and customers were waiting 45 minutes for food that should have taken 15 minutes to prepare. I realized that I had been solving the wrong problem. Marketing wasn't her bottleneck. Operations was her bottleneck. That insight led me to completely restructure my service offering. Instead of just running marketing campaigns, I started offering comprehensive business optimization services. I would audit every aspect of a restaurant's operations, identify the real bottlenecks, and create integrated solutions that addressed marketing, operations, and customer experience as a unified system. This approach allowed me to charge 3 times more than my competitors while delivering 10 times more value. Within 6 months of making this shift, my monthly recurring revenue jumped from $4,000 to $18,000. But more importantly, my stress level dropped dramatically because I was finally solving real problems for real people, instead of just taking their money and hoping for the best. When you're genuinely helping people achieve their goals, selling becomes easy because you're not selling anymore. You're consulting, advising, and partnering. The key insight that most entrepreneurs miss is that profitability isn't just about revenue. It's about profit margins, customer lifetime value, and business sustainability. You can have $1 million business that leaves you broke if your margins are thin and your costs are high. I learned this lesson the hard way when I hit my first 6-figure month and realized I had only made $3,000 in profit because I was outsourcing everything and hadn't optimized my processes. Stage 3 is where you learn to say no to good opportunities, so you can say yes to great opportunities. It's where you fire bad customers even when you need the money. because you understand that bad customers cost more than they pay. It's where you invest in systems and processes instead of just throwing more hours at problems. Most importantly, it's where you start thinking like a business owner instead of a freelancer with a fancy title. Let me share some specific numbers with you because I believe in radical transparency. In stage 1, my average profit margin was negative 12%. I was literally paying for the privilege of having customers. In stage 2, my profit margin improved to positive 8%. But my stress levels were through the roof because I was constantly putting out fires. In stage 3, my profit margin stabilized at 37%, and my stress levels dropped to manageable levels because I had built systems that prevented most fires from starting. The transformation from stage 2 to stage 3 required me to make some painful decisions. I had to fire my first employee because she wasn't performing, even though I liked her as a person. I had to turn down a $20,000 project because it would have required me to work outside my area of expertise. I had to raise my prices by 40%, knowing that I would lose some customers who couldn't afford the new rates. Each decision felt like a risk, but each decision moved me closer to profitability. One of the most important skills I developed in stage 3 was the ability to diagnose business problems quickly and accurately. When a client called with a problem, I stopped taking their word for what the problem was and started investigating the underlying systems and processes. 9 times out of 10, the problem they described was just a symptom of a deeper issue that they couldn't see because they were too close to their own business. For example, a bakery owner called me complaining that her social media ads weren't generating enough sales. After spending a day in her shop, I realized that her real problem wasn't traffic. It was conversion. She was getting plenty of people through the door, but her display cases were poorly organized. Her staff didn't know how to upsell, and her checkout process was slower than molasses. We fixed those issues first, and her revenue increased by 60% without spending another dime on advertising. This diagnostic approach became my secret weapon in stage 3. Instead of offering standardized solutions, I became a business detective who could identify the real problems and create custom solutions. This positioning allowed me to command premium prices because I wasn't just implementing tactics. I was solving strategic challenges that were holding entire businesses back from reaching their potential. The psychological shift that occurs in stage 3 is profound. You stop seeing yourself as someone who's trying to make it, and start seeing yourself as someone who has made it. This isn't about arrogance or ego. It's about confidence that comes from proven competence. When you've successfully navigated stages 1 and 2, you develop an unshakable belief in your ability to figure things out, no matter what challenges come your way. But here's something that might surprise you. Stage 3 isn't the end of the journey. It's actually the beginning of a new journey where the stakes are higher and the challenges are more complex. Once you achieve consistent profitability, you face new problems like scaling your team, managing cash flow, dealing with competition, and avoiding complacency. Success brings its own set of challenges that can be just as difficult as the challenges of failure. The difference is that in stage 3, you have the skills, experience, and confidence to handle these challenges. You've been through the fire and emerged stronger. You understand that every problem is solvable, every setback is temporary, and every failure is just feedback in disguise. This perspective is invaluable because it allows you to take calculated risks and pursue bigger opportunities without being paralyzed by fear. I want to share one more story with you because it illustrates the mindset shift that makes stage 3 possible. In month 18, I had the opportunity to pitch a major restaurant chain for a contract that would have doubled my revenue overnight. The old me would have said yes immediately and figured out how to deliver later. The stage 3 me asked better questions. Did this opportunity align with my core competencies? Would taking on this client require me to sacrifice the quality of service I provided to existing clients? Could I deliver exceptional results, or would I be setting myself up for failure? After careful analysis, I turned down the contract. It was one of the hardest decisions I've ever made because the money would have solved all my financial problems. But I knew that taking on work outside my wheelhouse would have damaged my reputation and potentially destroyed the business I had worked so hard to build. 6 months later, I heard that the agency who took the contract had lost the client and nearly went bankrupt trying to fulfill promises they couldn't keep. That decision taught me that stage 3 success isn't about saying yes to every opportunity. It's about saying yes to the right opportunities and having the discipline to walk away from everything else. This requires a level of business maturity that can only come from experience, And it's one of the key factors that separates successful entrepreneurs from those who remain stuck in stages 1 and 2. As I'm recording this, I'm now in month 27 of my journey, and my business is generating consistent 6-figure annual revenue with healthy profit margins. But more importantly, I have something I never had in my corporate job: freedom. Freedom to choose my clients, freedom to set my schedule, freedom to work from anywhere, and freedom to pursue projects that genuinely excite me. This freedom didn't come from a magic formula or a secret strategy. It came from surviving the 3 brutal stages that every entrepreneur must face. If you're watching this video, chances are you're somewhere in this journey yourself. Maybe you're in stage 1, riding high on initial success and believing that scaling will be easy. Maybe you're in stage 2, struggling with the reality that business is harder than you thought, and questioning whether you have what it takes. Or maybe you're in stage 3, finally seeing consistent results, but wondering how to take things to the next level. Regardless of where you are, I want you to understand that your struggles are normal, your doubts are temporary, and your success is possible if you're willing to do the work that most people won't do. The path to profitability isn't linear, it isn't easy, and it definitely isn't fast. But it is possible, and the rewards go far beyond just money. Building a profitable business will teach you more about yourself than any therapy session, any self-help book, or any personal development course ever could. It will force you to confront your fears, challenge your assumptions, and develop skills you never knew you needed. It will break you down and build you back up into a stronger, more capable version of yourself. The biggest mistake I see entrepreneurs make is trying to skip stages or rush the process. They want to jump from stage 1 directly to stage 3 without paying the dues that stage 2 requires. But stage 2 isn't optional. It's where you develop the skills, the mindset, and the resilience that make stage 3 success sustainable. Trying to skip stage 2 is like trying to build a skyscraper without a foundation. It might look impressive for a while, but it won't last. Another common mistake is giving up during stage 2 because the pain feels unbearable and the progress feels too slow. I get it. Stage 2 is brutal. There were times when I wanted to quit every single day. But here's what I learned. The pain of stage 2 is temporary, but the regret of giving up lasts forever. Every successful entrepreneur has a story about the moment they almost quit, and every story ends with them being grateful that they didn't. If you're currently in stage 2 and feeling overwhelmed, I want you to know that what you're experiencing is not unique to you. Every entrepreneur who has ever achieved meaningful success has felt exactly what you're feeling right now. The doubt, the fear, the exhaustion, the financial stress. These are not signs that you're not cut out for entrepreneurship. These are signs that you're exactly where you need to be in the process. The key to surviving stage 2 is changing your relationship with failure. Instead of seeing failure as evidence that you're not good enough, start seeing failure as tuition for the education you're receiving. Every mistake is teaching you something valuable about business, about your market, about your customers, or about yourself. The entrepreneurs who succeed are not the ones who avoid failure. They're the ones who fail faster, learn quicker, and adapt more effectively than their competition. I also want to address something that nobody talks about: the loneliness of entrepreneurship. Building a business can be incredibly isolating, especially during stage 2 when things aren't going well and you don't want to burden your friends and family with your problems. You'll feel like nobody understands what you're going through, and you'll be tempted to keep everything inside until it drives you crazy. Don't do this. Find other entrepreneurs who are on a similar journey and connect with them regularly. Join mastermind groups, attend networking events, or participate in online communities where you can share your struggles and learn from others who have faced similar challenges. Having a support system of people who understand the entrepreneurial journey is not optional. It's essential for your mental health and your business success. Let me give you some practical advice for navigating each stage more effectively. In stage 1, focus on learning rather than earning. Use your early customers as research subjects to understand what they really value and why they buy from you. Don't scale too quickly, and resist the temptation to reinvest every penny back into growth. Keep some cash reserves because stage 2 is expensive. In stage 2, focus on systems rather than sales. Every problem you encounter is an opportunity to create a system that prevents that problem from happening again. Document your processes, automate what you can, and build redundancies into your operations. This stage is all about creating the foundation that will support rapid growth in Stage 3. In Stage 3, focus on optimization rather than expansion. Fine-tune your existing systems, improve your profit margins, and develop your team's capabilities. Once you have a well-oiled machine that generates predictable profits, then you can start thinking about scaling to new markets, launching new products, or expanding your service offerings. Throughout all 3 stages, measure everything. You cannot improve what you don't measure, and you cannot make good decisions without good data. Track your revenue, your expenses, your customer acquisition costs, your customer lifetime value, your profit margins, and any other metrics that are relevant to your specific business model. Make decisions based on data, not emotions. I also want to emphasize the importance of pricing strategy throughout this journey. One of the biggest mistakes I made in stages 1 and 2 was underpricing my services, because I was afraid that people wouldn't pay higher rates. This mistake almost killed my business because low prices attract low-quality customers who are more likely to complain, demand refunds, and leave negative reviews. When I finally raised my prices in Stage 3, something magical happened. Not only did I make more profit per customer, but the quality of my customers improved dramatically. People who pay premium prices have premium expectations, but they also have premium budgets and premium timelines. They're more likely to follow your advice, implement your recommendations, and refer other high-quality customers to your business. The lesson here is that pricing is not just about covering your costs. It's a positioning strategy that determines the type of customers you attract and the type of business you build. If you want to build a premium business that serves premium customers, you must charge premium prices from day 1. Yes, you'll lose some customers who can't afford your rates, but you'll gain customers who value what you do and are willing to pay for excellence. As we near the end of this journey together, I want to leave you with the most important lesson I learned throughout this entire process. Success in business is not about being the smartest person in the room, having the best product, or knowing some secret strategy that nobody else knows. Success in business is about persistence, adaptability, and the willingness to do whatever it takes for as long as it takes to achieve your goals. There will be days when you want to quit. There will be weeks when nothing goes according to plan. There will be months when you question every decision you've made. This is normal. This is part of the process. The entrepreneurs who succeed are not the ones who avoid these challenges. They're the ones who face these challenges head-on and keep moving forward despite the obstacles. Your journey through these 3 stages will be unique to you, your industry, and your specific circumstances. The timeline might be different, the challenges might vary, and the solutions might require creativity that I never needed. But the fundamental principles remain the same. Survive Stage 1 by learning, survive Stage 2 by building systems, and thrive in Stage 3 by optimizing everything you've created. Before I wrap up, I want to make you an offer. If you're currently struggling with any aspect of your entrepreneurial journey, I want to hear from you. Leave a comment below describing exactly where you are in your business right now, what your biggest challenge is, and what you need help with most. I read every single comment, and I'll personally respond with specific advice for your situation. If this video helped you understand something new about the entrepreneurial journey, please hit the like button to help other struggling entrepreneurs find this content. And if you want to see more raw, unfiltered content about the reality of building a profitable business, subscribe to this channel and ring the notification bell so you never miss an update. Remember, your current situation is not your final destination. Whether you're broke, frustrated, overwhelmed, or ready to give up, you have the power to change your trajectory if you're willing to do the work. The 3 stages I've outlined are not obstacles to overcome. They're curriculum to complete. Each stage teaches you something essential that you'll need for long-term success. The road to profitability is not easy, but it is possible. Thousands of entrepreneurs before you have walked this path, survived these stages, and built successful businesses that changed their lives forever. You have everything you need to join their ranks. You just need to keep moving forward, one day at a time, one lesson at a time, one stage at a time. Este vídeo tem caráter educativo e não constitui recomendação de investimento.